maximize the life that you've been given, that you need to make it meaning and purposeful, but you can't sit back and that doesn't just happen. You have to make that happen, and you have to make it happen by saying yes to the things that are put in front of you. And if you're undecided, what tickles you? What feels exciting to you? What makes you feel alive? What just says, wouldn't it be wonderful to do that? If you're approached with a choice in your life, and I don't care if it's staying home and reading a book, or your friends calling and saying, want to go to dinner tonight, whatever one feels the most exciting, say that. And if you're stuck in a career, that where you've got an amazing retirement and 5 more years to go till you hit your magic number where the pension is fully funded, but someone comes and says to you, would you like to switch industries into something that you love personally? Say yes.
Welcome to Sheila's Take, your go-to podcast for thoughtful insights on love, faith, health, fitness, relationships, and navigating today's challenges through a spiritual perspective. Join me, Sheila Dunbar, as we explore various aspects of life with a mindful and godly approach. Tune in for engaging discussions on all things meaningful and transformative. Today, I have an exceptionally inspiring guest with me, Andrea Leigh. Andrea's life is a vibrant tapestry of transformation and success, weaving through decades in the biohealthcare industry before making a total bold leap into the chic world of fashion. With a distinguished 30-year career at Pfizer Incorporated, Andrea not only witnessed but championed through her gender transition, demonstrating true resilience and adaptability. Andrea continues to amaze with her dynamic perspectives and her amazing spirit. So, without further ado, let's dive into this extraordinary journey with Andrea Leigh. Welcome to the show, Andrea. How are you?
I'm great, Sheila. How are you? What
I
a
am
nice
well.
introduction.
Listen, if nothing else, I'm gonna try my best to give a good introduction.
Well, it was good.
Thank you very much. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about your professional transition and experience. Now, you started in the biohealthcare industry, and I know Pfizer because again, I worked in the beauty industry for many years. So, my question is, what inspired you to make such a dramatic career shift, and what has been the biggest challenge and rewards along the way?
I wanted to be in biopharma from the time I left college. So I had a great opportunity to go to work for Pfizer. I spent 9 years with the company. Um, After that, I left. In a severance package after 9 years. I spent some time doing some contract work with another company and then went back to Pfizer, um, and spent 25 more years working in 27 different therapeutic areas, selling probably 25, 26 different compounds for them. I was extremely successful, and I had met all of my career goals. I was at the top of my field. I had had numerous amount of success, and in the middle, and I was also participating in a lot of personal activities.
Okay.
I was a triathlete. I went after my triathlon days were over because I completed and checked off some personal goals of mine. I totally switched personal endeavors into sustainable agriculture design, getting a permaculture design certificate, and that would allow me and gave me the education to design properties of almost any size. Could be anything from an apartment rooftop to hundreds of acres of property. I decided to buy my own ranch outside of Norman, Oklahoma, move there, and implement some of those designs. after that, I mean, well, that was going on. Um, I decided to transition genders. I just decided that I didn't just decide, but there was something
Right.
squirreling around in me that it took me a little while to find out. But once I did that, I really had I really found myself not needing to uh, n- not needing to define myself by the job that I did.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so I found a lot of identity in being a Pfizer representative, representing a lot of well-known products and things like that. It's a well-respected role in the field of medicine, working for Pfizer. Once I transitioned and became really happy, I COVID came along, and in COVID, we were at home for 15 months. Well, Pfizer was very conservative with us as representatives, and it was just tearing me up. Not being, I'm such an extrovert,
To
imagine
get
that.
out. Yeah.
It was tearing me up being on what amounted to a house arrest. It seemed like for most of us, and my wardrobe was being bought at one of the chic boutiques in Oklahoma City. And the girls said, "You should come moonlight with us as a stylist in the evening." It took months of them pestering me about it. But by
Mhm.
the time I came around to saying, yes, I needed people so bad, I said, okay, I'll come in one night a
Yeah.
week,
Yeah.
every once in a while and work with you guys. I loved it. I loved it so much that I started investigating a new career. I'd hit my career goals with Pfizer. I had a great retirement.
Mhm.
The fashion company reorganized and said, "Would you like the leadership role here?" I said, "Yes," not wanting any regrets. I didn't, and this is the way I've lived my life for 20 years is say yes to new experiences and don't live with any regrets. And so I retired from Pfizer. It was a shock to them.
Mhm.
And I went into the fashion industry with eyes wide open and had tremendous amount of success, Sheila, very quickly. I was then asked for a repeat performance in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, where I said yes to going. I was met with a team that was so diverse and could check every box in the demographic section of an
Mhm.
HR form. It was so joy to see the different life experiences that team brought to me as a leader.
Mhm.
Um, it was just great. Um, we we had success taking chic fashion to the women of Dallas and Oklahoma, and I came to a point to where I said, "I need to make a bigger impact. My story is a great story." It's been fun to live too, but it's
Yeah.
a great story to tell people and for them to hear. And so I started working on my book. I started working on my speaking ability and taking my story public, and I've done that now, and that's wonderful. And so the book is coming out, my speaking's coming out, and just telling the story is a lot of fun. Um, it's just great, and I'm willing to talk about whatever it is you wanna talk about, so there.
Well, I mean, it's again, it's just such a different field from, working
Yes,
in that industry to going into the beauty industry, or rather the fashion
absolutely.
industry. Um, Let me ask you a question. Which one do you like the best? I know now at this point.
Well, it's really interesting because I like them both, and I still find, I miss the pharma industry because of there's a quality and there's something to having some really intellectual discussions
Mhm.
on science, and you can be very impactful. The medication I sold for the last 7 years was very important in treating, DVT, you know, what are blood clots and things like
Mm,
that,
okay.
and stroke, prevention of stroke. And so I would feel very valued on a Friday night at 7 o'clock if a doctor called me and said, "What's the dosages I need to use because I've got a patient here we need to start treating." And so that made me feel very valued in that industry. But the same holds true for the way I feel valued and the impact I make in fashion. I am an amazing stylist and a fit expert. And what I love doing is working with women in front of the mirror to show them how wearing their clothes, adjusting their clothes just a little bit different can change their whole perspective of themselves.
Mhm.
I tell my clients, you know that show, What Not to Wear? That's what I do. I'll show you what to wear for your body's type. I'll show you what not to wear. I'll show you how to wear the clothes you already have.
Mhm.
And so I can impact people almost immediately. Every woman has something about her body that she doesn't like, and it makes us and we're unique in the things that bother us, but we're all the same in that we all have something, and we all want to feel pretty, and I can
Yeah.
help people do that in a very short amount of time by showing them some things right there in front of the mirror, and so I feel just as good about being able to do that on a Saturday afternoon, in, styling as I do on a Friday night getting called by a doctor from the ER because they are both life-changing,
Yeah.
potential. Um, so I really can't answer because I find so much value in both
In
of them.
both. You focus on encouraging exceptional, I don't want to say like customer service experience, but you're focused on encouraging just exceptional experience, right? And everything you do, when it comes to working with Pfizer, when it comes to working with your clients, um, what key principles do you believe are essential for businesses to deliver exceptional service? And how does your diverse background influence your approach?
I think that you have to be real and authentic
Hmm.
with your and I know authentic is used a lot these days, but you have to be very real and authentic when you talk to your customers. And it doesn't matter if they're a cardiologist or it doesn't matter if they're a stay-at-home mom who's getting out again to buy a wardrobe after she's had a baby 6 months
Yeah.
previous. It's that the when I was crushing the business in fashion, I was asked by financial people and I was asked by management, "What are you doing that the sales are so good when everyone else is struggling?" And I said, "I make it an experience to shop with me, to work with me." And I did that in pharma as well. You have to stay on message, because there's guidelines you talk about. But in fashion, I make it an experience for them. And they are important. Nothing else comes before the customer in any business that has customer-facing business model has to put the customer first.
Yeah.
All the task goes behind. And so and I'm actually consulting on this now in the customer-facing businesses that need to improve customer experience. As you know, the American economy is moving to a customer experience, an experience economy, that if you as a business owner can't deliver that, they will go somewhere else.
Yeah.
You have to deliver an
Hmm.
exceptional experience, and I've just always done that, and I don't know if it's because of the way I just connect with people. I don't worry about what other people think about me. It's not my business what they think about me. It's my business to take care of them. And if it's in the fashion world, I want them to feel important and I want them to feel pretty because I know what it's like to not be pretty and then be able to say and look in the mirror that that I feel that way. I know what it's like to change and feel and not feel that way,
Hmm.
and then get to a place to where you can feel good about yourself and love yourself because of just changing small things about you. In my situation, is a big thing, but
Yeah.
you can change perception. You can change self perception very quickly
Hmm.
with people.
Yeah.
Sometimes physically in the physical look, and sometimes by flipping a switch in their brain.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying, especially when it comes to how we look and just a simple, like you said, a simple tweak, just something simple can make a woman who's feeling down feel so much like she's the most beautiful woman in the world.
You're right.
And,
Yes.
and that's important. A lot of people don't realize it, but it's very important. Let's switch gears a little bit. Now, your memoir is slated for release. Can you share a glimpse of what readers can expect and what motivated you to document your journey in this type of form?
Well, I have a tagline that goes with me almost wherever I go, and
Mm-hmm.
it's that the purpose and meaning of someone's life is found in experiencing it. And you have to say yes to experiences to get the most out of your life. And
Mm-hmm.
so my life, starting about 25 years ago, after a second awful divorce, I'd been married twice. The second one was awful. It was a crushing experience. And I decided that I was going to have experiences and not focus on stuff. I've been married almost 22 years, and we made the decision together to just experience life. We would go to sporting events, we would go to golf tournaments, we would
Mm-hmm.
take vacations, we would participate in triathlon. Um, we got into the sustainable agriculture design, buying properties. All of this is documented because out of those, we found meaning of each one, building us for the next best experience, building our resilience after a daughter's severe and traumatic eye injury that's described in the memoir.
Mm-hmm.
And and so I detailed those so that people can see if you'll how much experiences play into a wonderful, amazing life. I
Yeah.
think a lot of people have amazing lives. They just don't look at them that way. They think their life is boring and humdrum. But if they were to tell it to somebody, I think people would be amazed. And people
Amazing.
need to look
Yeah.
at their lives that way. And they can give themselves a wonderful journey if they will say yes to more experiences. And so that's what I did over the last 25 years. Some of them were innocuous, small little experiences, and some of them were massive, big experiences. But in the end, they brought me to a place to where my life was showing meaning and purpose to me. But then in that, I was able to give some meaning and purpose and some feelings of importance to other people, to build other people's self-esteem and to help them get to a place where they might not be able to get to on their own. So that's a lot of what's detailed in the book. It's a wonderful love story. We were meant for each other, and it's not been marriages that are over 20 years aren't easy at times, and especially when there's a gender transition involved, you
Listen,
know?
I just celebrated, my husband and I just celebrated 24 years of marriage. So you're right. It's not. People think it's easy, but it's not. There's some days where I want to just strangle him and not talk to him. And then there's some days that I love him to life. And one of my friends always says, you pick your battles, and that's what it is. You pick your battles. But like you said, oh, when you're over 20-year mark, it's a lot. And you've gone through a lot. You've been through, you've done a lot. So
Well, you're exactly
congratulations to you.
well, congratulations to you too. And
Thank
as you
you.
know, in those kind of relationships, you get to a point to where you ask for what you want and talk about what you need. And at the same time, you realize that there's probably no one else that loves you like the other
Mm,
person loves you.
yeah. Yeah.
And we are always very secure in that, is that even if we're kind of irritated with each other, we always tell our acquaintances and our friends that no one loves me like she does.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's such a secure feeling.
And that's a good feeling. It's
It
yeah.
is.
So now that we are talking about marriage, you said almost 22 years, right? How has your marriage of almost 22 years contributed to your personal growth and professional success? And how do you and your wife support each other's ambitions?
Well, when we first got married, she was still in school.
Hmm.
And so I supported her as she finished her school and went on into she's a classical trained as a classical ballerina. And so she was a ballerina instructor, and we had children right away. So we moved from that, supporting her in her role as in her professional role, moving to that as to the role of a mother. And me being in big pharma, when you work for someone like like a Pfizer, that is your life.
Yeah.
You're on call all the time. You're with them, and you can't do that without a supportive spouse. And so she played that role for a long time. It actually, as I left the field of pharma and medical and went into the fashion world, the support actually became more important because fashion and direct to customer fashion and styling is highly personable and takes a lot of
Mhm.
hours.
Right.
And so that was extremely important for me to be supported in that role as as her role as a homeschool mom was winding down. She picked up more certifications in massage therapy, deep tissue massage, energy work, Pilates instruction. We're little drivers and achievers. And so my role in supporting her became more important, and that we began a relationship that looked more like ships passing in the night,
Mhm.
that required then our time together to be more intentional. So it's been a very intentional relationship to stay focused and foster the growth in each other, and knowing that it's never really 50-50. Sometimes it's 70-30,
Yeah.
sometimes it's 30-70.
Yeah.
To expect balance is, in my view, is just really nonsensical. And as I pick up my role in media and coaching, public speaking, and the authorship of a book, right now, it feels very much like it's about 90-10 on Andrea's side with support. And
Mhm.
and it's and I've been told it feels like it's 99-1 in talking about it.
I can relate to that. You have so much going on, Andrea. You talked earlier about being a rancher and you have a triathlete. I mean, these are unique passions. How do these activities complement your professional life and contribute to your overall being?
I think the interesting thing about triathlon let's talk triathlon, was the
Mhm.
discipline required,
Right.
that it's discipline. And I think that that was what I learned more than anything else, that if I wanted to accomplish my goals on and knowing that I was doing this while I had a major career. So I was doing it after my workday or around my workday, which I'm
Mhm.
very loyal and did that I needed to be very intentional about my workouts and not miss and be highly disciplined. A lot of people, and you can relate to this, a lot of people have the motivation to do things, but motivation doesn't do things. It's discipline that you
Discipline.
need to
Yes.
find. It's the
Yes.
discipline one needs to find. And I learned that from triathlon. I took that, when I hung my bike up, I took it right into the homesteading and the cattle ranching, because the kind of ranching I did was needed to be economical for me because it wasn't my vocation. And so I rotationally grazed my cattle, which no one in Oklahoma did. I moved them with daily moves onto new plots of grass in the
Mhm.
pasture, naturally grazing them. And so I had to be disciplined or the animals got hungry. I mean, it's like because you are feeding them daily by conducting daily moves. Well, that takes discipline. You're out there after work and before you go in for dinner. So that's what I learned is if you'll just do your stuff, if you'll just do what you need to do, that carries over in everything. And if you don't do it, you suffer. So through triathlon, through ranching, and then through pharma, I just made my calls. I just went and saw my clients on a
Mhm.
regular basis. I was dependable. I was credible. They could depend on me. Just like in triathlon, I would be there swimming every workout. In ranching, the cattle could count on being moved. They planned on being moved every day. And then that went right into fashion and the way I was methodical with my financials in the business and things like that. No one was as analytical as me, but the analytics came with understanding how things worked in progressing not only a business of fashion or drugs, but also in the growth of your cattle or meeting marks in triathlon. It
Mhm.
was all the same. It's discipline.
You're also a dynamic motivational speaker on top of everything. Your resume is huge. What core messages or message do you strive to deliver to your audience, and how do you tailor your talks to different groups?
Well, it depends on what group. Well, like you said, the
Mhm.
tailor of my message is going to be depending on the group I'm talking to, and I believe that the core message is what I had said earlier, which is the meaning and purpose of life is found in experiencing it. And so, say yes to new experiences.
Mhm.
One must get past worrying about what other people think.
Yeah.
It is not our business
Yeah.
what other people think about us. And more than likely, what we are thinking or worrying about going on in someone else's head
Mhm.
is more than likely wrong. And
Yeah.
so there's no sense in worrying about someone else's thoughts about us when when we're likely wrong, and in the end, they're probably not thinking about us at all.
And at all.
At
Exactly.
all.
Exactly.
The culture is so self-absorbed into their own or our own lives that we really just want the best for everybody else because it's what we want for
Mhm.
ourselves. And I've got a lot going on before I come onto the podcast, once I come after the podcast, or once you come into my store, or once you leave the store,
Mhm.
that I'm not really worried about what you think about me or you or me thinking about you because it's more than likely wrong. I
Yeah.
want the
Yeah.
best for you like you want for me. And a lot of people conduct their lives making assumptions about
Mhm.
what the world thinks about them because we have this tendency to think that the world revolves around us and it just simply doesn't. The point in my talks is that when we run into somebody different or we are met by a different experience, we have choices and we have a choice to either react or respond. And typically, react is equated with bad response,
Mhm.
bad connotations, and response is equated to something good. Just like if the doctor were to say, "Hey, you're having a reaction to the medication," people don't think that's a good thing.
And
Or if
right.
he says, "You're responding," people say, "Ooh, that's good." I want people to know that when they run into people different than they are, you may not have a choice on whether your initial reaction is a reaction,
Mhm.
it's a
Mhm.
response. But what you do have is the ability to choose. Are you going to push back? Are you going to be fearful or of difference? Or are you going to accept and realize this is what makes us unique?
Right.
And so my experience is based on experiences of family, of work colleagues, of customers, of clients, all looking at different experiences of how we respond to each other. Are we going to contribute to polarization in our country and culture? Or are we going to just say, you know what? It is a big melting pot. We are unique.
Yeah.
It is a pretty cool uh, list of ingredients that goes into the melting pot of our culture. And I think most people realize that. And I also talk about most people, like I said earlier, really don't care. They're actually, a nicer way of saying it is, they're really indifferent because
Mhm.
and we're yanked around in our culture by 5 to 10% on the right, 5 to 10% on the left. 80 to 90% of us are really indifferent to what's going on, and we need to understand, don't get yanked around, because what you're probably being led to believe about any topic that's divisive or polarizing is probably just simply not true. It's
Yeah.
just simply not the case. And so I have so many circumstances in my life where that's
Mhm.
arisen in politics or whatever, just things that, and I look back and just say, you know what? All of my different experiences give me a basis of understanding of what uh, people are people are fearful for, what people don't have to worry about, what
Yeah.
people can accept, and what they don't have to fear. So,
I'm gonna say this, in your lines of work,
yeah,
you deal with a lot of different people, so you see all those different personalities and things like that. Your journey is kind of described as unpredictable and disruptive to conventional thought. How do you view the role of disruption in fostering innovation both personally and professionally?
well, in as a disruptor, um, I say I say it's disruptive to conventional thought, because when I moved into when I moved into ranching,
Mhm.
I needed to do it in a way that was cost effective for me. And I lived on a small homestead. I wanted to graze cattle, but I needed to do it in a way that could give me the number of cattle I wanted on a smaller amount of land that was normal than was normal in an Oklahoma or a Texas, where the
Mhm.
land is abundant. I didn't have abundant land, so I needed to do it in a sustainable, efficient sort of way. So I found someone to teach me. I was disruptive to conventional thought because there was no one around that did it the way I did.
Yeah.
Um, so that's an example from the ranching or the agriculture world. As I moved into fashion, what I found is I came from a field that was very independent, um, had high level of thought, and didn't always follow structured guidelines. I was very in tune with what people wanted. I was a good listener, because you have to be a good listener in the medical field, as you can imagine, whether you're a
Yes.
doctor listening to patients or what a doctor needs from you
Mhm.
and what they're looking for in the medications you represent. And so I would listen to my customers, and I would realize what they were getting or not getting. They could come in and say, "Hey, I've got a wedding I need to buy it for." Well, it's not it's that's too broad. When is the wedding? Is it in
Right.
August or is it in November? Is it indoor or outdoor? Are you gonna be on
Mhm.
grass? Are you gonna be on cement? Is it
Yeah.
gonna be nighttime or daytime? I was a listener, and I also knew what the people that worked for me were capable of. And so I thought, let's make it easy for everybody. Let's restructure the plans of the boutiques we work in. Make it easy to get what we need for customers. They sure look pretty designed, but
Mm.
if they ask for a suit, I have to run all over the store looking for all the different separates for it. How
Mm.
about we suit together and make it easy and speedy for the customer that's on the move, like a busy executive that needs a new suit for for an interview tomorrow,
Right, right.
something like that. So that was disruptive to the conventional thought that just thinks that, if it wasn't for the customer, the work would get done. And as we talk about customer experience, that's a very common thought amongst people, is that the tasking required for so many different jobs in a customer facing business model almost makes one feel like, exactly like I said, boy, work would sure get done if we could keep
Mm.
the doors locked for a little while longer.
Yeah.
And I try to help businesses get past that thought, or give associates or colleagues of business owners ways to look at these and still get everything done. It's disruptive to even approach changing business as usual.
Mhm.
So my life is disruptive because I'm disruptive to the way that I live personally, not in only the way that I live personally, but in the way I change. That's disruptive to conventional thought. I'm disruptive to what the culture is told every day on a polarizing topic.
Yeah.
So, um, anyway, and I like it. I like it. It's made my life exciting. I do things different. I march to the beat of my own drum, but I love people and people connect with me and it's it speaks for ourselves. We connect, and people, if they open their minds, they see that there is a different way to living or conducting business than business as usual. And in a society and in a business model where personal experiences are becoming more and more important, we need to wake up. Um, to, getting away from some kind of operating business as usual or whatever. So,
Yeah. 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 What advice would you give to listeners who are considering making a significant life change, either personally or professionally?
yes, do it.
Just do it.
Just do it. Just say
Yeah.
yes. You're not here to lead a boring life. You are also, depending on, I don't know what, we all have different belief systems and whether they're religious beliefs or the ways that the different world views we carry. But one of the things that leaders, whether they're religious leaders, the leaders in the past, whether it's Jesus or George Washington, whoever you want to listen to, have told you for millennia, have no fear. Have no fear.
Yeah.
And it's because they know something. And in living a life with no regret, what I don't want to do is get to the end of my life, number one, say, I wished I would have. I don't want to do that. I also don't want to get to the end of my life, cross over and say, damn, that's what that was all about. Well, I sure wished I wouldn't have been worried about
Yeah.
blank.
Yeah.
And so with the way I think is that to maximize the life that you've been given, that you need to make it meaning and purposeful, but you can't sit back and that doesn't just happen. You have to make that happen, and you have to make it happen by saying yes to the things that are put in front of you. And if you're undecided, what tickles you?
Mhm.
What feels exciting to you?
What makes you
And
alive, feel alive?
what makes you feel alive? What just says, wouldn't it be wonderful to do that? If you're approached with a choice in your life, and I don't care if it's staying home and reading a book or your friends calling and saying, want to go to dinner tonight, whatever one feels the most exciting, say that. And if you're stuck in a career that where you've got an amazing retirement and 5 more years to go till you hit your magic number where the pension is fully funded, but someone comes and says to you, "Would you like to switch industries into something that you love personally?" Say yes. Don't get down the road and say, "Gosh, I wished I would have gone into fashion, but the boys needed to get through college."
Mhm.
Don't say that. Everything will happen the way it needs to happen. Most of those things that we want for ourselves in our lives, they're waiting for us.
Mhm.
They are there trying to make their way to us. And we don't have to manifest them. We don't have to bring them to us. More than likely, the stuff is trying to make its way to us, and we just need to clear the path for it to make its way there. If we want stuff to come to us, we want a new career, it's more than likely out there waiting. We just need to clear the blockages in ourselves so it can get to us. It's usually not something that we have to really work hard at. It's usually there waiting for us. If it's what your higher self is calling yourself to, that means there's something to it. And we need to listen to our higher
Yeah.
selves more.
Yeah. It's a lot of people out there with the woulda, coulda, shoulda. I heard something a couple of weeks ago that the cemetery is full of uh,
Yes.
amazing ideas and innovators, and they just took it with them because they didn't just do it, as you say. Looking back, would you have done anything differently?
Well, I wouldn't, knowing what I know now, I look at back at the journey of my life and say, gosh, I'm now understanding the meaning of all the different experiences. But had I known what a good gosh, this is gets me emotional. Good question.
Mm.
Had I known what a good leader I was, I would
Mhm.
have stepped up earlier. I
Wow.
would have
Okay.
led I would have led more people than myself and my
Mhm.
family. I would have said, I'm a great leader. I would have stepped up more. I would have not cared what other people think.
Yeah.
When I realized that when I stand in front of a crowd of 10 or 100 or 1,000, that they're nervous. They would be nervous in my spot too. And they're not really critical of me, and they're also embedded in their phones half the time. So the crowd's really half as big as you think it is.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And and so I would do those kind of things. I'd step
Mhm.
up as a leader. I'd stop worrying about what other people think and stuff. And I would encourage people more to do the things that their higher selves call them to.
Yeah.
I was disciplined in the things that I would love, but I would now I would search to be more meticulous than I am. But we're all geared certain ways. I find the weaknesses in myself to shore up to make me better. I also look at some things that are strengths that I have to rein in so that they don't hurt the other strengths in myself. I think of my ability to communicate in the human
Mhm.
well, sometimes you have to rein a strength like that in so that you can strengthen your marriage over dinner and not talk to every waiter or waitress that comes up about the purpose and meaning of their life. So there are all kinds of things that I do different, but I'm so pleased with the life I've lived
Mhm.
that I'm the that I encourage people to just say yes to experiences like I did,
Yeah.
and I'm glad I did that, but if I knew then what I know now, I'd have done it sooner.
Mm. Are there any upcoming projects or initiatives you're excited about that you can share?
Well, it's just it's the increased ability to for me to take this message to corporations to that need to that want to hear um, about um, the encouragement of people to understand their strengths in leadership and the kind of leadership styles that they have. I'm really working now on my individual coaching business. I coach high performance individuals to do this in their own lives. And these are people that will have the ability to say, yes, I just don't know where to start, or I want to, I just don't know how to begin. And I love working with people like that. So I continue my work in fashion because it fills my cup, and I do that a few hours every week or most weeks to stay in contact with just the everyday person, and I love doing that. And that's where I'm at. I
It's
just
great.
love connecting on all different levels, whether it's through social media or in person or a one-on-one coaching session over the course of a significant time period because we can make big moves if you can let
Mhm.
people know my big thing in coaching is that typically the things that hold us back are stories that we've told ourselves. And if we can realize that most of the stories we've told ourselves about our life are based on nonsense, you can lose those stories and you can really get your life moving. So that's what I like to do. I like to really work with that and see
Yeah.
what we can do with people and people like that as well.
Mm. What are you grateful for?
I'm grateful for a family that raised me with the knowledge I could do anything I wanted, and they put the wind at my back from the earliest age. I had a purpose,
Mhm.
and that if the things that I wanted to do in my life, I felt were connected to that purpose, then nothing would stop me.
Mm.
That's what I'm grateful for. And
Oh.
when times got tough, a wife that stood by me,
Mm-hmm.
grateful for wonderful colleagues in both fields of fashion and pharma and farming, for example, a mentor in farming that was 16 years younger than me, that was like my grandpa. He knew so much and was patient.
Mm.
The human connection,
Yeah.
that's what I'm grateful for.
Well, that's so beautiful, Andrea. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. I love this conversation. I love talking to you. You're like an inspiration. If my listeners wanted to contact you for speaking or engagements or to get your book, your ebook, or even just to, to for style, so many things for a personal stylist, how can they reach out to you? Can you give us your information?
Yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
AndreaLeigh.com,
Mm-hmm.
and it's Andrea, and then Leigh is spelled Leigh,
Mm-hmm.
AndreaLeigh.com, and there is a contact page on there, and the contact page can be, signing up for my newsletter, signing up for email, or even, a call, a connecting call with me. And for your listeners, if they would like that, we can do that for free. They can just hit the connect with Andrea and schedule a call with me, and that would be wonderful. And we can talk about what might be an issue for them. I'm on Instagram at the real Andrea Leigh, and I can be DM'd there, and I'm kind of smitten with that. So they can connect they can connect with the real Andrea Leigh pretty fast on Instagram.
Okay, okay. Awesome, awesome. Well, again,
Yeah.
I thank you, Miss Andrea Leigh. You are amazing. What's the name of your book? Can you tell us the name of the book? Or
Yes, and it's called "Do You Still Like Football?"
do you still like football? Oh,
Do you still like football? And in fact, anybody that gets on Instagram will probably see some choices of some different book covers here within the
okay.
next few days or so.
Oh,
I'm gonna
that's
I'm gonna
amazing.
let people help me pick a book cover, and,
Oh,
that ought to be kind of fun. I've seen a bunch come in, so that's gonna be a good time. So, yeah.
oh. Well, thank you again. This has been so much fun, Andrea, and I
Oh my
appreciate
gosh, Sheila, it's just been a joy, and you're such a great interviewer,
Thank
and when
you.
you can pull, when you can pull the emotion out of a guest, then, you're doing something right. You made me feel today. How's that?
Oh, thank you. Well, you're an amazing person, and I appreciate you, Andrea. Please go out and get Andrea's book. Do you still like football? Do not forget to subscribe to Sheila's Take. You can leave a review and share this episode with anyone who needs a dose of inspiration. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, stay curious and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible. Until next time, remember to embrace the journey, build lasting connections, and step boldly into all that life has in store for you. I'm your host, Sheila Dunbar. Blessings to you.